Right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being on. Isn't it great that we've got more of these lessons to do? I absolutely love these lessons. And whenever I actually train on them myself, I learn so much. So this is my fourth time around with doing this program, and each lesson gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it leads me off into further study, which then I bring back into the lesson again. It is an unbelievable program to keep just doing and doing and doing. It's yeah, absolutely the best program. Has been completely life-changing inside and out for me. So we've already done the wins for tonight. So one of the things I like to show you is about results always tell the truth. So no matter what is going on in your mind and what you think you know, if there's a certain result on the outside that you're not getting, there's something going on the inside that you need to just literally take a look. And this lesson is all about praxis, and all about praxis is about beliefs and behaviors. Now, I actually thought that I had it sorted, that I knew what my beliefs were. But again, as you do this and you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you realize that actually the beliefs that are really driving you are sometimes something that you don't even hear, but it's giving you certain results. And only by being quiet can you start to hear those voices or those feelings that have been driving your results. So a new belief based on understanding that is gained through serious study has the power to change your inner state and your outer world. So a new belief, I mean, what is a belief in the first place? A belief is a thought that you've thought over and over and over and over again. Now, these beliefs could also come from your great-great-grandparents, so it's in your genes. You don't even realize that you've got those beliefs. It could come from your parents. One of the things, your parents have an emotional body as well. We've all got emotional body, but we've got what's going on in our head, and we're all very good at telling people, well, don't do this and don't do that and don't do the other. But actually we have an emotional body that as children we picked up all those emotions that they had, and they were just like us. Our parents were just like us, that literally whenever they were younger, they didn't have a clue what was going on either, just try to make it work. So when we say understanding and gain through serious study, it's the study of material like this, which literally takes the everything that you've ever learned and given it a basic of 12 lessons. And it's only by studying that, I mean serious study, not just like once a week or whenever, but continuous repetitive study, that literally gives you that understanding. Because it's not just the knowledge that you have in here, it needs to filtrate down. And one of the things that I realized that I was doing was just by playing it and playing it and playing it, I wasn't applying it and taking the time to actually stop to do that. And the power to change your inner state. If you change your inner state, your outer world will change. That is law. It is based on literally the law of vibration. You will attract whatever you are vibrating on, and you are going to be vibrating on it. It's what your body is actually vibrating on, not what your mind says. Yeah. So I love that one. Now, on lesson 7, we talked about the terror barrier. And what I've noticed is that when we get to this lesson 8, about beliefs and behaviors, that it's actually, why are we hitting the terror barrier? Sometimes it's just going, is this what you really want, or is it what you're settling for? Is the goal that you've got, that you're in complete alignment with, literally from head, heart, and gut? Are you completely in alignment with your goal? Because if you're not, then you're going to keep hitting the terror barrier, maybe not actually getting through to the other side. And also it could be, is it going against your beliefs of what you want? So it's a time really to stop and really take notice of where exactly you are, and is it the right goal, and are you in complete alignment with it? The study, if we don't study, and this is where most people are walking around in, literally 95% of the population are walking around in ignorance. Not that they're ignorant, it's just that there's lack of knowledge, and that we're working on autopilot, and we see things have happened before. So we think that, oh my goodness, I start worrying in my head. First of all, I create all these problems, And speaking to, you know, somebody yesterday, and also with what I'd noticed about myself, about the scanning that I do for, like, worry and doubt. We actually scan. It's really funny feeling when you actually feel your body doing that. And when you get rid of the worry and doubt for one thing, oh my goodness, then you transfer it to something else. Yeah, so this is where we literally, because worry and doubt will create fear, which will then create anxiety, and we tend to suppress. Although I would actually say with myself, you know, because I'm not used to anxiety, that when I was going through the terror barrier, my anxiety would have actually been expressed. But you can understand that when people go through this over and over and over again, that they start to suppress it. And that's what causes dis-ease in the body, which is basically a breaking down inside the body. It's almost like eating yourself up from the inside out. So when we start to study and we realize is that it's all about perception. So especially with lesson 5, when we talk about the intellectual faculties, so we've got, you know, perception, reason, will, imagination, memory, and intuition. And when we can really understand that and where that goes, we realize that, oh my goodness, if there's a negative to something, it also means that there's a positive. And when you study even further, you realize that there isn't actually a negative or a positive. Everything just is. And that is the best place to be. Absolutely. You'll never see Bob go hyper, hyper, hyper at all, because when you go high, you have to come low. And it's about understanding that everything just is, and about going with the flow. And that's what this study does, which then gives you faith in your subconscious, which gives you an understanding, which helps you feel with well-being. You know, so as Bob always says, he goes, you know, you never see somebody, if you ask them, are you doing well, and they're feeling really great, you wouldn't actually see them going, yeah, I'm doing really fine, I'm really good. You actually see people expressing, you know, how good they feel. And actually, I suppose that's what I would be like if somebody asked me, how are you? And I'm feeling anxious. I would go, yeah, I'm fine. No problem. I mean, that's a big paradigm in itself. Yeah, I'm fine. But whenever you're feeling good, you literally express yourself. And, you know, that's whenever you are at ease. And that's where creation comes from. That's when you start to hear either the negative talk. And it's not about, you know, turning it away from the negative talk. It's actually just looking at it and going and being a friend to it and going, actually, why are you here? What is the purpose of this fear? Why are you scared of this? Why did your stomach just turn whenever my head's going, it's okay, but actually something happened inside of me? Like if you're just about to make a call with somebody and your head's going, this is great, but actually your stomach does a dance. Why is that? Just ask yourself that question and understand your body's trying to tell you something. Don't stuff it down and pretend it doesn't matter, which is what I did. It's literally about, you know, asking your body, why is it there? And you will get an answer. It's really, really funny. You know, I've been doing that, you know, you remember to do it, then you forget to do it. And when you remember to do it, you just sort of go, oh my God, look, there's the answer right there and then. So praxis is the integration of belief with behavior. And this is where you'll see, you know, whenever, if you're doing any work with couples, and you'll ask, you know, and if they've fallen out or whatever, and the wife can be going, but I love him, I love him, I love him, but actually her behavior towards him is so critical, and, you know, you don't do this and you don't do that, and I hate you, etc., etc., and then to turn around and say that you love somebody, there's something not quite right there, is their belief and behavior. Now, it can also happen the other way, where you see a positive effect, but actually you are overriding something. So let me just give you an example of my previous marriage, where my ex-partner was, you know, where I would have said negative with money. If you'd asked him about money, he would have like gone, no, we can't do that, you know, and kept saying no, whereas I was very much a yes person. But what I actually had was, and what I realized is that anytime I went to pay for something, that I would have like a contraction inside of me going, and I would have a quick thought of, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be paying for this, you should be this, you should be that, you should be the other. But I would override it with my head. Yeah, so on the outside, everybody would see Sheena as the positive person and that everything was really, really good. but on my inside, I was actually criticizing myself on quite a huge level, and that, etc., etc. So that's really about, one of the things that Bob says is that, once we set our goals, we go, yeah, I know where I'm going, but we need to know where we're coming from and be completely honest with where we're coming from. And like, this is, if you think that you know everything about yourself, the chances are you don't. This goes to such a deep level, and Bob is still finding beliefs that are not correlating with certain behaviors that he's had at 85. So nobody's got it sorted, and it's literally like peeling an onion, and you're going to find more beliefs, more beliefs, more beliefs. If there's something you want in your life and it's not there, you really got to look at the core beliefs that are going on. So what beliefs did you have that now you find out were not true? So I had a little story whenever I was 15, whenever I was a child, and my nanny, and I can remember her telling me this story. My nanny said to me that if I ate a banana too fast, that I would end up with lumps in my tummy. How funny is that? I literally believed that till I was 15. No word of a lie. I literally did believe that till I was 15. So I think actually that's whenever I, had my periods and everything. So I was probably still very much a child in my mind. But that was one of the things. It was just it was just a belief. So, you need qualifications to be successful. No, you don't. There's plenty of successful people out there who do not have qualifications and you earn a lot more money. You work hard and you will have lots of money. Again, that's not, you see lots of people today working so hard, and they do work 18 hours a day maybe, and they don't have lots of money. A good job gives you security for life. Not anymore. I mean, it's just, that's what we've grown up with, and that's what we thought. Now, I would actually, going to be a bit honest here. Well, not completely honest, but you can tell where the religion that I was brought up in. So you don't have sex before marriage, and then you will find the right man, you will have children, and you will live happily ever after. Let's move on from that one, because that was probably one of the biggest shocks and paradigms of my life that literally got shunted out. So not going to mass is a mortal sin. So these are some of the beliefs that were driving my behavior, that, about thinking like, what is a mortal sin? And to have that said over and over again, mortal sin, what is that? And it's not that I blame, my parents or anything. It's just, that's how they were brought up, and that's just how we were brought up. And that was just, and if you were naughty, you got smacked with a wooden spoon. It's just so funny now. But it's just like, that's just how we were brought up. And, a lot of people from Northern Ireland, we'll always laugh about the wooden spoon. But what belief did that give us? It's, we've all got our own beliefs. And to have a look, at what's there. So I'm not good enough, so were we ever good enough? Because if we were trying to find somebody's perfection, somebody else's perfection, well, of course, we're never going to be good enough. Yet we took that on board ourselves. And so that's one thing that I realized, is actually we're never good enough. Because if you listen to the song Never Enough in the Greatest Showman, I couldn't figure out, why do they have all these positive songs, but this one is saying never enough? Well, here's the thing. We're always growing. Yeah, we're always growing. So every time we get to somewhere, the door opens. So it always feels like we're never enough, because you always know how you could have done it better, because you're able to look back, but you didn't know that before you did it. How many times do we beat ourselves up going, oh God, I could have done that better? But we didn't know till after we'd done it. And then the world opened up again for more stuff, more stuff. So when I realized that I'm actually never good enough, is a really good place to be, because I'm always learning. And so I'm never looking back now. That just changed everything for me, that I'm constantly growing. But what I was doing with that was, by feeling that I wasn't good enough, I was actually contracting all the time. Now, when you're in contraction, you're living in fear. There's only two ways to live. It's either love or fear. And what I realized is that actually most of the stuff that I did was driven through fear. And that was when I realized that absolutely, I literally felt like I was floating off the mountain, that it was all okay. You know, another way that you can look at it, like a river of life, where, you know, you've got all these rocks, and what rock are you hanging on to because you don't want to float down the river and go with the flow? You know, are you hanging on to the money? Are you hanging on to a self-image? Are you hanging on to a relationship? Are you hanging on to a job? What is it that you're hanging on to? Because that's actually when you feel not good enough, because you're in contraction. And if you really notice the feelings in your body when you go to do something, and if you feel that contraction, that's fear. And then you go and take an action. So you have a belief inside you that you didn't notice before. And then you go and take an action. That action is actually in fear. So it's something to notice in your body. How many times a day do you contract? Because it's about noticing it, and then you can go, no, no, no. This is good. I'm always growing. The universe is always growing. We know this now. You know, you're either growing or you're dying. You can't cruise because you have to go downhill when you cruise. So you're growing or you're dying. And so it's about letting yourself expand and literally open that up. I mean, that was just one of the most amazing things for me. So I just thought I'd actually pass that on for you. So I just put in here, you know, what beliefs did you have now that you find out were not true? I'm just putting out there the pyramids. If you want to have a conversation about that, that's literally, I'm just putting it out there, the pyramids. Who built the pyramids? Like, who did that? Who had that technology? Evolution? Really? Did we evolve? You know, a Newton's theory. So there's lots of things that are out there that we took for granted in our history, and it's all 19th century and 20th century thinking. I mean, what's changed in school except for the color of the board? You know, 19th and 20th century, it was like a blackboard. Now it's a whiteboard. What's changed whenever the world, like, you know, 19th and 20th century would have been like your the era of the head, and now it's about the, you know, the era of the century of the heart. But nothing else has changed. We're still beliefs that, you know, we are basically material things and everything is literally rock hard, and we know that not to be true. So never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And that really is that you can't just, I mean, you can tweak yourself, but you're just tweaking the same model. You know, this is really in your lesson 6, the self-image, about creating a whole new model. Now, what I realized was that I was still trying to hang on, and I liked the old Sheena, but actually the old Sheena only got me to where I was. I really need to have a whole new Sheena, but a whole new Sheena, not just on the outside. The whole new Sheena is actually on the inside, and creating an image of myself as to who Sheena really is. And it's not about fighting existing reality and where we are now and going, I want to change this, I want to change that. No, it's about, I don't like this feeling anymore. I don't like this feeling of contraction. This is not doing me any good. I now live in expansion, so that you have the polar opposite to literally go straight to, as soon as something happens, when you react to something, literally pick up on that reaction and go, why did I react like that? That was a negative, contracting thing to do. Why did I do that? So the next time that happens, I don't know if, like, I just saw a guy on the way back tonight. He's literally driving down the road. Somebody pulled out on him. It was no big deal, but he decided not to brake. He had plenty of room to brake, but he had to beep on his horn. Literally just beep on his horn and make a whole new drama. And I can't actually remember why I was actually saying that. There was something, that's it, fighting the existing reality. He had something that he was trying to, that car shouldn't have pulled in front of him. So he actually, at the traffic lights, I felt so sorry for the guy in front, because he gets out of his car and shouts at him. And he's still shouting at him as he's driving off. And I'm like, little did that man know, the one who was beeping the horn, that it was nothing to do with the person in front, that it was everything to do with him in his insides. It was nothing to do with the person in front. Because if he'd have been in a mood like I was, I'd have gone, oh, crack on, nice indication. I wouldn't have said, I was shouted out the window. I'd have just had a bit of a laugh and just gone, yeah, I've done that as well, haven't I? We've all done it. We've all done it. So do not underestimate the power of praxis. You know, your conscious mind has a belief, And your mind is so, so strong that it believes that if it believes it, then the whole body believes it. And it is not true. If you are emotionally involved in the belief from your conscious mind, then it's going into the subconscious mind. And then, but you do have beliefs in your subconscious mind, which can be, non-productive habits that you're not even aware of. And it's only through this study and asking yourself these questions and stopping to think, well, why am I doing that? Why am I spending time here on Facebook? Am I avoiding something by spending time on Facebook? Or why am I not reading my 10 pages a day or listening to Bob Proctor every morning and every evening? What am I avoiding? That's your paradigm literally holding you in place because you decided not to do the study the way it's designed, in the way the most successful people in the world actually do this work. Because your conscious mind is so strong with its belief in that 2% that it will override anything in your body, but it's your body that's doing the behavior. So the big thing is, I suppose the easiest way to realize is, are you doing things out of love or fear? If you're contracting at all in your body, it's out of fear. Your action will then and has to be out of fear. It's a fear-led action. What result are you going to get? Sometimes you do, but it's like a hit and a miss kind of thing. Imagine if you were doing everything from love. At the back of everything you did, that you understood that everything is growth. There was nothing negative, that actually you were growing at every single time. And so no matter what happens, somebody pulls out in front of you, that actually it's just a time for you to grow and be patient, or whatever the actual result is that you're looking for. Now, some of the beliefs that I have here is that I wrote down, and I mentioned the first one was being not good enough, and I realized, well, of course we're not good enough. Actually, that was the one story that I realized that was from was when I went to Vegas. I mean, it'd been my dream my whole life to, whenever I was a young kid, watching John Wayne in the movies, riding in the Grand Canyon. And then whenever I went on conference to Vegas, and it was just awesome. My horse is called Maverick, and I was looking up riding, in the area of around the canyon, and I found a Maverick ride. Couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I got there, and when I was on the horse, I was just like, oh, is this it? It was really quite a funny feeling, to actually get there and sort of go, well, this is funny. So what's next? I mean, it literally was that, because what I realized, I didn't know it then, but I know now, that the door just opened for more. And so don't be disillusioned if you get what you want. So I know that, there's people who literally get what they want. And then when they get there, that they actually sit there and feel a bit disconnected and actually wonder, well, why am I here? Did I really want this? And then bomb out after. Now, that's a paradigm in itself, because remember that we talk about like a financial thermostat or a happy thermostat. Let's call it a happy thermostat or a clarity thermostat. And it's running at a certain level and you really outshine. Yeah? Well, what's your body going to do? It's going to do the complete opposite to try and bring you back to that center point again. Okay, so say it was, you've set the house temperature to 22 degrees and you hit 30, because you achieved what you wanted. Absolutely awesome. Well, what's it going to do? It's going to drop you right back down to maybe 15 to try and rebalance you and get you back to 22 again. So be aware of that when you finally get your big goal, you have overachieved, but your paradigm will try to keep you. And it's just being absolutely aware of that. Another previous belief that I had, that you have to earn and deserve money. Rather than, there's some questions I'm going to ask after here, and it depends how you answer that, because we don't have to earn money. When we think we have to earn, where it's using force, and that's fear. Yeah? When you think, I have to do this, I have to do that to get money, I have to do this to do that. And, if I don't work hard enough, if I don't do this and if I don't do that, then I don't deserve the money. So there's a question later that will help you see, are you coming from fear or of completely love, that you actually deserve this and actually that you're doing everything for the sheer fun of it. If you can come from that place that actually, yeah, everything is around, everything is absolutely here, it's omnipresent. We've got everything that we actually want right here, right now. It's just that we're not aware of seeing it because maybe we're only on the 10th floor of the Shard. For those of you in, you know, in different countries, the Shard is the tallest building in the UK. So if maybe you're only on the 10th floor, and you know, there's only so much that you can actually see here. But when you realize that everything is actually here, and that if we start to do things out of the pure joy of it, then we will have a better vibration and more things. We will rise easier. It's like a cork. You know, if we think we earn money, you know, we push that cork down. But then when we think, well, I'm just going to do things for the pure joy of it from now on, you could be doing the same thing, but you've got a different vibration. Yeah? You let go of the cork and it pops up to the surface and it feels so much lighter. Oh yeah, there's some beliefs there that I'm not going to, because they're really quite deep and it goes into lots of different levels of knowledge. But actually, here's another one here. I have to know everything. So a lot of people do this whenever they join Arbonne and network marketing, where they actually think, well, I've got to know everything before I can step forward, you know, because what are people going to think of me if I don't know the answer to a question, you know? And actually, it's not, you don't have to know everything. That is literally a paradigm and a belief that holds you back and holds you in situ, stopping you from actually going forward. Or here's another one. I have to think about this. I have to think of all the angles before I can make a decision. Again, decisions, it's not really the big decisions that we're making. It's those small, every single day decisions that we make. Like, do I get out of bed straight away? Do I, you know, I don't know. Do I honk my horn at the driver who just pulled in front of me? All of these are just series of little decisions that can actually make it look like a big decision, but it's not. It's the small, small decisions every single day. Like, oh my God, I just contracted there, right? I need to stop and make sure that I'm expanding and feel good before I get on this call. Because if you remain in contraction and do the call, then you're doing the call in fear and you're not going to get the outcome that you want. So I hope that all makes sense to you. So on a conscious level, on a logical level, we think it's true and we can say, yes, I can do that, or yes, I know that. But it's about believing on a deep, deep level. Now, here's the thing about beliefs. So when something is true, you don't actually really have to believe it, do you? There's no force behind it. But how many times you go, I believe I am a millionaire, I am this, I am that, and there's force behind it. Whereas if you just go, like, when we know that the sun comes up every day, I know it, we revolve around, etc., but you know, if you say it that way, I know the sun comes up every day, that we didn't go to bed at night time wondering, well, I'm going to believe that the sun comes up every day, or I'm going to believe that my heart will keep beating while I'm sleeping. I'm going to, you know, believe that I have, you know, there's air for me to breathe whenever I wake up. It all is taken for granted. There's no force, there's no thinking of it. We're just assuming. And that's the level that we want to get to for our goals, that we don't have to say them over and over and over again. We've made a decision that this is going to happen, and that's it. We forget about it. But what we need to do is concentrate on holding the feeling. So if you say that you're wanting to earn, you know, 100 grand a month, yeah, that it's like, what is that feeling? Let go of the goal. What was the feeling that you got around the 100 grand a month? What was the feeling? And then you let go of the goal, but you keep hold of the feeling. Yeah, keep hold of the feeling. And it's that will actually that goes into your subconscious, and that's what creates the belief. So I didn't know, but now you don't have to believe something for it to be true. So the law of compensation. The law of compensation clearly states that the amount of money you earn will always be an exact ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. So the only thing that you can focus on is your ability to do it. And, you know, where does the confidence and the belief in that come from? And as Bob has written here, become a master at whatever you do. And you do that really through self-study. It's 95%. mindset and 5% strategy. So if you're whatever market that you're in, you know, it's about that constant research and that constant understanding, not just about yourself and how you're doing business, but also of the area that you're doing business in, and really having your ability to do it. So just a reminder there, so the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you because you're so good at what you do. Because remember is that, you know, your beliefs are controlled by your paradigm, and your beliefs are on perception. That's a belief. You know, when somebody pulls in front of you in a car, you know, your perception, he's a bad driver. He did that on purpose. No, he didn't. He just wasn't paying any attention. And it was just a lapse of, you know, thinking. So, you know, in your paradigm's out there blaming the outside world when actually it just was. You know, your use of time, you know, how, like, one thing, whenever I used to do, like, you know, maybe 100 messages and it would take me 4 hours to do it. Well, one time I was at the airport and I had an hour and I wanted to get everything done in that hour before I get on the flight. And I literally did it in an hour. So we think it's going to take a long time to do something, but it's only because we've given it that length of time. If we give it a shorter period of time and aim to do it all in that time, you'll get it done. So your paradigm's also controlling your creativity. It's creating your effectiveness. It's creating your productivity, and it's you know, literally creating. It's controlling your logic. So, you know, your beliefs, if you think that I will do this because it feels logical, well, then you're actually just within your paradigm, and that is to do with your beliefs, because your paradigm, remember, is a collection of habits and thoughts which are based on your beliefs. Okay, so it's like, yeah, your paradigm is controlling all of these areas here. So let's take a look at each of these areas and actually see, you know, well, where is my paradigm got the biggest control, and what is the belief behind it? Why do you think like that? And if you think, oh, this is too deep, can't be bothered, well, it's driving certain behaviors, and it's something that, you know, it's coming up and it's telling you time and time again, but it's just, are you listening, or are you constantly just busy and not listening to your body? Because remember, we've got the thinker and the prover. Now, where you're literally, if you think something and you have a negative thought going over and over again, your body will set out to prove it. So, you know, you've got your paradigms, you've got your beliefs, and you've got your behaviors, and so has everybody else. So you could both be looking at the same situation, and with this guy here, he thinks he's just God, he just thinks he's wonderful, yet this guy is like thinking something else. So this could very well be the I'm not good enough scenario. So he's here thinking, well, I'm not good enough, and everything comes to prove that he's not good enough. But then you have the guy here who's like, you know, yes, I am good enough because I'm expanding all the time. And of course I'm not good enough, but that's because I've just grown and I'm getting better all the time. You see how the same thought can have, you know, it can weigh out differently. So what do you believe you're worth? So when they did, this was Earl Nightingale said this in Lead the Field. And if we look at Newtonian way of thinking, and that everything is matter, and that this is actually solid, then what you get is they calculated with all the chemicals, so whatever that's in our body, that we were worth $32. Okay, that was 19th and 20th century thinking. Now we understand with quantum theory, and actually lots of this was only really proved, you know, about 30 years ago. And we're actually looking at the body and realizing just that we are a mass of energy. You know, people say, oh, I haven't got any energy. You are an absolute mass of energy. When we drill down through the atom and we find out that all we've got is literally molecules of energy bouncing back and forward, just like this mouse. You know, we feel that it's solid, but what's happening is we're getting communication from the tips of our fingers, our nerve endings, and we're actually experiencing everything in our head. Everything is in our head. That's why imagination is so key, how we can literally create something new, because everything's happening in our head. We think it's outside ourselves, but actually it's all being communicated and translated in our head. We're not actually seeing with our eyes, we're seeing with our brain. It's doing the calculations. It's sorting it all out. I knew that with NLP, where literally we create, distort, and generalize things, especially with our eyes. We fill in the blanks. So what blanks are you filling in? Yeah. So when we look at ourselves as quantum beings and we are full of energy, the electrical component that we have got in our bodies can actually light up a small country for a whole week. Yeah. And when we look at what that brings us, it's actually $85 billion. So are you treating yourself like a $1 billion person? Or are you treating yourself like the $32? Because it really does affect us how you approach a situation. Are you coming from the bottom up, or are you coming from the top down? Because it's better to be thinking that you're up here and to look down on situations, because you make them look small. You can be here and make 1 million look small. That's what, actually Peggy McCall wrote a book like that in conversation with Bob. And he says, well, make 1 million look small. And she goes, oh my God, I'm going to write a book like that. So that's what she did. She went above 1 million and made it look small. But we tend to come from the $32 and look up and go, wow, 1 million, that's absolutely massive. No, we're worth 85 billion. And here's the thing, we can't replicate Sheena. We can't replicate you. You're so unique and so special. Nobody can replicate you. That's priceless. I mean, absolutely priceless. But what do? We compare ourselves with the person next door or somebody else in a job or whatever. And we immediately downgrade ourselves because we go, I'm not good enough. I should be there by now. Well, at least I did that anyway. Not anymore. I'm keeping aware of it, that's for sure. A good question to ask yourself is, what is your point of view of the world? Because that can give you a big answer as to what comes back. How do you actually see the world? How do you see other people? How do you see material things? How do you see your job? How do you see where you live? What is your point of view of the world? Because it will tell you a big story as to where you are right now. So you can have a copy of this presentation and, repeat this webinar as well and watch it. And you can write all these things down and do these exercises, because it really does, or take a screenshot of this right now. It really does open up your eyes. So instead of, just looking at this and going, yeah, I do this, yeah, I do that. No, actually stop, take a pen, a piece of paper, and write this down, because you just don't know what falls out. It is really, really eye-opening to start writing this stuff down, because stuff starts to fall out of your body. What is your current challenge? Why? And who's responsible? Another good question. It's a good way of actually asking other people this question, because you can see where they're coming from. When they're complaining about something, then you can actually see, well, where are they coming from? Are they 100% responsible for what they're doing? Another great question to ask is, who am I? Absolutely awesome question to ask yourself, because this question will help you see, where you're actually trying to figure out your problems from. So we all know, we've been doing this program long enough now to know that we're working on 3 planes. So we have a spiritual plane, an intellectual plane, and the physical plane. So even though you may know intellectually that we are all energy beings, like if we took the energy out of this body, the body's just going to collapse. Just something is in this body making it work, okay? But where are we solving problems from? We tend to solve it from the intellectual plane and even from the physical by trying to manipulate the physical stuff outside us, rather than going back. Now, remember what I said before, is that everything is happening in our head. Everything has been created, translated. It's like a big, massive computer, awesome computer that is translating everything. But we try to fix things on the outside, but that's not where they are. It's all in your head. Big thing to get yourself around. And I'm going to say this just like Bob does, says it over and over and over again until something drops. When you read a piece of material and you just sort of go, do you know what, I get it. But it's not just reading and listening to this material and thinking into results. It's what other books is it leading you into. We've got lots of other, books by Napoleon Hill or the Thomas Troward, there's Neville Goddard, there's lots of books out there to actually supplement the material here. And unless you're doing other reading and catching up on this, then maybe you won't particularly understand about thinking from our head up here. Because as we see, is that, we have the thoughts are running around all the time, and then they fall into ideas, into our intellectual mind, and then we make them get the result. But where did the idea come from? It came from the ether. It's like, we don't think that anything's different from when we have, like, say the P stands for, like, like iced water, or ice cube. Then we melt it and it becomes water. So that, like, that's the idea. But then if we heat it up again, it goes off into steam. And we don't see them as three different things, do we? It's all one thing, but just at different levels of vibration, where it's exactly the same with who you are and how you think. But mostly if you ask somebody today, who am I? They're going to say, I'm the CEO of my company. Yeah, I mean, actually, probably somebody be really freaked out if they said, who are you, Sheena? And I just said, well, I'm spirit in a physical body. You probably think, she's lost the plot. So you might be careful who you actually answer that question to and who you're actually answering it to. But it's actually good that if you're dealing with a client, to figure out where they're coming from, because you will be able to see exactly how they're thinking. It's like thinking from the ground level of the shard instead of from the top level. When you're on the top level, you can see everything up here, and it's nice and clear and free, and there's no polarity, and you can see 360 degrees. Or are you thinking from the ground floor, which is the physical result, and trying to figure out the problem with all the polarity and everybody else who's actually trying to figure out the problems there as well? So what are you worth? So not just, the who am I? I mean, we listened to lesson 8 last week, and I wanted just to really go on about praxis this week. So it's also, not just who you think you are, but actually to step outside yourself and look at yourself from somebody else's point of view. What would they say about you? Again, take the time to sit there and write it out, and pick about 2 or 3 friends or business colleagues or whoever, and actually, what would they say about whenever you're actually looking at you as an objective person? It's very, very interesting. Take your time to do that exercise. Another one that was in Lead the Field was, which one is in control of your life? This was landmark again for me. Is it your past, your present, or your future? So if it's your past, then you're always looking, well, this happened before, so I can't do that again because, this happened before and it didn't work, so I won't do it again. So you're letting your past control your future. Or is it your present? Because if it's your present, you see, the trouble with present is, which is what I had the problem was literally it's a moving target. And if you don't like your present, then it's a really difficult one, that's what's actually controlling your life. And it's like, but I'm supposed to be in the now. I'm supposed to be in the now. So I'm not letting my past control, but this present is bouncing me all over the place here. And that's exactly what was happening. So if you go to the future self, so remember that there is only a series of nows, because when you get to the future there, it's actually here and now, isn't it? There is no like there, because it's here and now. It's like a succession of nows. So if you've decided in a year's time or 3 years' time who your future self is, and that is lesson 6 in the self-image, to really, really understand who that future self is, but not what she's doing. How is she feeling or he feeling? How do they feel? Yeah, because you want to take that back to the current now, and not just in today, but just go, what do I want my next moment to be? What do I want my next moment to be? And really be consciously aware of every single thought that you're having. Now you're thinking anyway, you're having 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every day anyway, so you may as well control those thoughts rather than letting them run riot. It's like you run this script until the script runs you. Just like any actor would read the script over and over and over and over again, you do that, and then eventually the script will run you because it's in your subconscious. And that's where we want your subconscious to run your life, not your conscious mind, because that is exhausting, your conscious mind running your life. If we can get our subconscious life just to bring the stuff to us, then that's what we're looking for the script to run us. Now, again, because what was happening in the future, it's like, well, to me, it hasn't happened yet. And I'm sort of hypothetically thinking, well, when I'm this and when I'm that, that's what I'm going to feel. But you can bring it back into your present. So if you think about, okay, well, when I'm my future self, what am I doing for my partner? Oh, wow. And you get a vision and you're like, wow, how does that make me feel? Oh my goodness, I feel this, this, and this. What am I doing for my parents? How are my parents? What am I doing for my kids? How do I view my bank account? How do I view my business? And this is all about your feelings, absolutely your core feelings from your heart. And whatever brings you anxiety today, go to your future self and go, well, that's going to be solved then. That problem, how will I look at that problem in the future? Well, I'm going to be feeling blessed and privileged. Wow, we'll bring that feeling back to here and now, and stay with the feeling and remember those feelings. When you get stuck, go to your future self again, do the exercise all over again in your head. It can be done literally when you're driving the car. Feel those feelings, whoosh, bring them right back. So before you do any of your business work today, that actually you're living in your future self, in your future body now, and you're taking the actions of your future self. So really, really powerful one there. Who is actually controlling your life right now? So there's a difference between wishing for something and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until they believe they can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief and not mere hope and wish, okay? So wishing for something and ready to receive. We know that we're infinite beings, that all the information, everything we want is right here and now, but are we ready to receive it? You can actually know if you're ready to receive anything is if somebody gives you a compliment and you bat it away. You're not ready to receive. You can't even receive a compliment. What if somebody offers to buy you a cup of tea and you go, no, it's okay, I'll buy it. We're using control there, because we think we have to maybe give, but we can do that almost out of fear as well. It's just like going, no, imagine just accepting when people say, I'll buy that, and you just go, oh, thank you. That's lovely. And about really understanding what it is to receive a compliment and receive a gift from somebody. But you've also got to not just believe in your head, it's got to be in your body, and that is a whole different ball game. So the state of mind must be belief and not mere hope or wish. Believe, and your belief will actually create the fact. I mean, it's just said absolutely everywhere. So do you believe on a gut level that you actually know that there's no force behind anything, that it's coming from love, it's not coming from fear, and it's just literally coming from love, that you know and that you deserve, that what's out there, and that it is already yours anyway. It's just you have to bring your body into the vibration of it. So what is your body vibrating on? Is it vibrating on love, or is it vibrating on fear? I can categorically tell you that actually everything I have done for the past 2 years has been vibrating on fear. And this, that is one of the biggest learnings that I've done in this last month, and that I've been studying love and understanding what it means, loving yourself. And if you've never read the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's called Love. So Don Miguel Ruiz, R-I-U-Z, I don't know if I'm saying his surname properly, but that book is called Love, and that is the foundation of absolutely everything about loving yourself. And if you are overflowing with love, that will come out in your work anyway. So what do you believe you're capable of doing? This really is the knowing doing gap. You know it in your head, but for some reason the results aren't there, or you're not doing what you wanted to do. You didn't make a decision, or you don't believe that you're actually worthy of it, or you don't believe that you're actually capable of getting it done. So what is it? What is actually causing that knowing doing gap? And it's your beliefs, and your beliefs are your paradigm. So we're coming around full circle again to like lesson 3. Because remember, what we think, what we feel will cause a vibration, which causes our actions, which causes a reaction from the universe, which gives us our results, which brings conditions, circumstances, and creates the environment that we're in. Now, remember that there is nothing external, that everything is going on and calculated in our mind. We're not actually seeing with our eyes, we are seeing with with this brain that's here. It's an absolutely awesome, powerful, powerful thing. And, you know, cats and horses and dogs all see differently, you know, and birds see differently. So we're not all seeing the same thing. And then we add in our judgments on top of all that, you know, and our perception of things. And then we play judge and victim with ourselves based on the beliefs. And then we go and act. So if you're not getting the results, obviously if you are getting the results that you want in certain areas, keep doing what you're doing in that. But if you're looking at results and you don't like it, but don't focus on the results. The main focus is on you inside, be in alignment with what you think and feel in your body. So your head, heart, and gut alignment has to be love. Basically, you could sum it all down to love. So yeah, that's the end. And I'm going to stop this recording so we can have a chat after, so we don't have to have this on mainstream. But thank you for listening. That is Praxis. So we can get on with actually doing that work. And we'll speak next week, which is lesson 9, which is actually all about attitude. So we thought attitude was really simple, but that goes very deep as well. And it's basically on your beliefs.